Architectural columns are a lot like structural columns, but they have different properties associated with them. Their primary function is usually not to bring loads down to the ground, but instead they create a finished look to your building. They're the reason why you normally don't see steel beams as you walk through most spaces. Instead, you see these ornate architectural columns that actually surround the steel beams, which are giving it its structure. So let's go ahead and show how to put an architectural column into this space. To begin with, we can't really do it underneath the Structure tab. We're going to need to come over here to the Architecture tab, and then underneath Column here, if you select on the word Column, you'll notice that there's two options. One is a Structural column, which is exactly the same as the structural columns we saw over here underneath the Structure tab, or there's a Column Architectural, and that's the one we'll want to use. So go ahead and select on that. It's going to give you a message saying that there aren't any architectural columns currently loaded into the project. Do you want to load one in right now? And the answer to that is going to be yes. So go ahead and select on yes to that. We'll look underneath Load Family here, and we're going to look for our columns. So here we have columns. Double click on that, and we're going to load in just a rectangular column. It's kind of a generic column for right now. So rectangular column. And when I say generic, it doesn't have real material properties associated with it. It just sort of looks like a big rectangle. That could always be changed later. Next, we have this rectangular column, and it says 24 by 24 inch. That happens to be the exact size that we need, so that's going to work out just fine for us. And we'll zoom in here, and at the intersection of 2 and B, we're going to try to place our first architectural column. So go ahead and move it over here. Click. You can see it places it in, and you can just keep clicking this in order to place in each of these architectural columns in the place. So select, and we'll just do it at these 6 interior locations for right now. Once these architectural columns are in place, we'll hit escape a couple of times to get out of the command. Next, we're going to move to a 3D view and try to take a look at them in the 3D view. So go up to the little house, select on that. Now we're going to spin this around by just holding down the Shift key and the wheel on the mouse. And one of the things you'll notice is we're not seeing our architectural columns as of right now. And the reason is inside of a structural view, oftentimes such things as the architectural columns might be shut off by default. If they are, this is how you can go about turning those things on. We can just use our visibility graphics. And you might remember that we can type in the letter V twice for visibility in order to bring up that dialog box. Or we can click on the edit button next to visibility graphics. And that's what I'm going to do now. Click on the edit button. And we can see that our columns are currently shut off inside of this view. But our structural columns are currently turned on. That's why we can see our structural columns here. But we can't see our structural columns, or architectural columns, here in the view. But if we put a little check mark next to columns and click on OK, suddenly down here at the bottom, we now have our architectural columns surrounding our structural columns. And if we don't want to be able to see through them, we can come down here and we can see that right now our visual style is set to wireframe. We probably don't want that, so we'll go ahead and turn this to be hidden line instead. And now we can see our architectural columns, which are surrounding our structural columns. Now, it's important to remember that architectural columns are there so they can create a finished look around your columns. Why they're important on the structural side is that they also work great as such things as pilasters. Think of concrete columns that might surround some of your structural members down around your foundation walls.